In this video, we're going to talk about the last aspect of the assignment and probably the most critical part of the assignment. We're going to talk about the if-then statement. So an if-then statement is used whenever you're wanting to figure out if something more or less is true or not. And if something holds true, then we want it to do some kind of calculation. But if it's false, we want it to do another calculation. So what I mean by that is, let's say that you need to have $100,000 in your banking account at the end of the year. You say, because of this operation, we need to have $100,000 in that banking account. So what we're going to do is we're going to use an if-then statement. So what we do is we say if, open parenthesis. We're going to actually look at what this if-then statement says. So it says if logical expression. So a logical expression is something is an expression that is a reference or reference to a cell containing an expression that represents some kind of logical value, such as true or false. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to figure out if something is true or false. So let's go ahead and do this. We say we need to have at least $100,000 in ending cash. So what we're going to say is if this ending cash is less than $100,000. So that's our logical expression right there. We can now say, is this logical expression true or false? Now, if it's true, let's say that it is true. What do we want it to say? If this ending cash is less than $100,000 and we need $100,000 in the account, how can we get that additional amount? So we're going to actually use this in real terms. This is less than $100,000. Because it's less than $100,000, we need to borrow money. We need to borrow enough money in an operating loan in order to get that bank account back up to $100,000. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if, actually, we're going to use a cell reference on this, and I'm going to back up for a second. I'm going to say need in account. So we need $100,000 in the account. So we say equals if this cell, meaning the ending cash, is less than what we need in that account, this cell is $100,000, then what we want to do is we want to take $100,000, the same cell B54, minus what we currently have in the account. What that's saying is if the ending cash is less than $100,000, then we need to take $100,000 minus the ending cash to get that amount. But if it's true, if this is over $100,000, then we don't need to borrow any money. So that's actually 0. So we see that we need to borrow $32,000. Now let's just see how this if-then statement works. Let's say this was not $67,000, but it was rather $102,000. We see that automatically changes to 0. And the reason that that happened is because this cell was greater than this cell, meaning if we look at it right here, we said that this cell is now greater than this cell, making this first logical expression false, meaning we select 0. But if it's less than 100,000, like it's supposed to be, this cell plus this cell, then we see that it automatically calculates that value for you. Because now it's saying that since that if this B51 is less than B54, which it is, then we needed to calculate this true expression. So an if-then statement is very important. If the logical expression is true, you tell it to calculate a logical expression using equals, greater than, less than, anything of that nature. And if it holds true, then what's in between these two middle columns, this middle expression, will show up. But if it's false, that last expression is going to show up. I hope this little video helps you out on the if-then statement, and good luck on your assignment.